Okay, thank you. I'll look for the call the meeting to order and look for my roll call, Madam Clerk.
Welcome to the August 10th, 2026 council meeting. We'll begin with roll call of council. Mayor Clark,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
Present.
Councillor Snutch, Councillor Fisher,
Present.
Councillor Tuyu,
Present.
Councillor Goff,
Present.
Councillor Bell.
Present.
Thank you. We have quorum.
This meeting is being streamed live on the Township of Ramara YouTube channel. Be advised that by attending a public meeting of the Council of the Township of Ramara, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and will form a part of the public record. The chair, CAO, and/or clerk have the discretion and authority to terminate or interrupt the live streaming in exceptional circumstances where the content of debate is considered inappropriate to be published. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll look for the approval of the agenda.
That the council agenda dated August 10th, 2026 be adopted as amended to include an on-desk report related to closed session item 10.2.3, disclosure of personal information, councillor social media.
Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Fisher. Questions arising from the agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor?
Sorry, I didn't hear, Rebecca, I didn't hear what you changed.
On desk item.
It's adopted as amended to include an on-desk report related to closed session item 10.2.3, disclosure of personal information, councillor social media.
All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest by any member of council? Councillor Bell.
Thank you. Well, I don't actually know, but I would just say that it's possible when we arrive in closed session, there seems to be this on-desk Mission Impossible kind of style report here. So I may or may not be recusing. So I would just note that before we head into closed session.
Noted. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. I have a disclosure on 11.5.4 due to the address of the proposed site and the proximity to my home.
Noted as well. Any other disclosures? Not seeing any. So I will do, again, if you find yourself in that situation later, please declare it at that time. Announcements. I have a few. September 9th is Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Disorder Awareness Day. The township is boy, oh boy, I didn't have too many coffees or not enough. The township has proclaimed September 9th as Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Disorder Awareness Day. Now recognizing we're doing it early, but our next council meeting is not till September 14th. FASD is a lifelong disability and can result from prenatal alcohol exposure and can affect individuals in many different ways. I'd like to recognize the Simcoe County FASD Prevention Committee for its work to raise awareness, support prevention, and promote greater understanding and acceptance to individuals and families affected by fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Registration for new doctors. We've got some more great news on the physician recruitment. I'd like to officially welcome Dr. Mehdi Dadashi to Ramara. Dr. Dadashi will be joining Dr. Mo at the Ramara Medical Center and brings 20 years of experience in family medicine and emergency care. Dr. Mo and Dr. Dadashi are now building their patient rosters. If you don't have a family doctor or a nurse practitioner and you're looking for one closer to home, you need to register with Healthcare Connect to be considered for attachment to either one of these fine physicians. The Lake Couching Health team will also be helping register patients. So if you want, you can call Emily at 705-329-3649, extension 241, or have the Ontario Health Card ready, and they will help you walk you through the process to get onto a doctor. I'm going to have to break down and put them on so I can read. Also, the Disaster Recovery Assistance for Ontario's program for the April flooding for the Lake St. John residents is now included in the designated activation area. So residents who experience flooding in that area are encouraged to visit the provincial's DRAO website at ontario.ca/disaster assistance. And now hopefully you can get some assistance in recovering from this event. Any other announcements? Councillor Tuyu.
Thanks. Just one, but it's a good one. The Ramara Harvest Festival is coming up on Saturday, August 29th from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. in the Lakeside Atherley Community Park at the corner of Creighton Street and Winchester. There will be face painting, hair braiding, old-timey rope making, Local farmers and vendors selling produce and baked goods, pottery, jellies and jams. You can clock how fast you can throw a baseball with police radar. See a tractor and fire truck up close. A local radio station will be broadcasting live. Grab some lunch at the food truck, and the Koochiching Ontario Health Team will be there to help people navigate sign up for a new doctor. Speaking of wildlife, will be there with a critter or two. Natalie from Aqua will be there to provide cold, fresh drinking water and provide some education on where our drinking water comes from and where wastewater goes, and so much more. And I have heard that there will also be a dunk tank where people can try their luck at sinking the mayor and deputy mayor. And it's all free admission. So come on over to the Atherley Park, Saturday, August 29th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I'm already seeing some happy faces in the crowd here. Looking forward to dunking the mayor before he's gone. Thank you, Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. I spent Saturday, tried to spend Saturday over at Western Trent for the Sylvan Glen golf tournament and barbecue. We got rained out, unfortunately. All the teams were able to make it out. Some teams only made it halfway through the first hole. So we got rain checks to continue. By the time we went back to the backyard that we were going to be having the barbecue at, is when we got the alert. So the Legion graciously opened up their upstairs for us so that we can continue to have the day there. So it was great to see residents and cottagers at Sylvan Glen Beach Association out golfing and trying to golf and have a good time regardless.
Awesome. Councillor Goff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last Wednesday, I was one of the lucky residents that went to the medical center to try to register for a doctor. I was thoroughly impressed because Dr. Dardashi came out and was introducing himself, to shaking hands all down the line. I think that was just the cherry on top of the sundae, him being so personable and coming out. And then after I was registered, Dr. Mo came out and I got to meet her, and she was doing the exact same thing, going down the line, introducing herself to all our residents. It was a great turnout, and I actually think we have two very great doctors that are very personable, and I think their bedside manner is astounding. So hopefully I'm get registered with one of the doctors.
Thank you. Councillor Bell.
Thank you. I was trying to remember the highlights. It's a long time when there's a month in between, but one of the great things that happened over the course of the month was that I had the opportunity to tour Lagoon City's waterways with Dr. Ginn. Dr. Ginn is one of three folks who hold the North American Lake Management Society credentials. He has studied Lake Simcoe, worked with the Conservation Authority for more than a decade, and his work has been around nutrient inputs, acid rain, climate change, invasive species, fish habitat, and on the list goes. He's quite an impressive individual. I reached out to ask a question of my colleagues there and was fortunate enough that he phoned me back directly and arranged a tour. So he's taken some samples from the waterways, which is incredible. As the month progressed or the days progressed, I was able to pop in at a local business who opened up her summer location out on Highway 12. It's Blooms and Bounty. So it's a wonderful dahlias, actually. She has beautiful flowers as well as other things, baked goods and produce. So a really cool spot there. 2 barbecues. So the Legion had its pig roast, and that was a great day. I was actually there twice because I left in between to attend a different barbecue at another local business who was celebrating their birthday, their 51st birthday. So that was a ton of fun. I would also note that the Chamber Golf Tournament is what we're working on now. That tournament is at Western Trent on September 16th. Registration by 1, shotgun at 2. And finally, on the healthcare front, I too am quite pleased to know that 2 doctors are here. I maintain my work with the Patient Family Caregiver Network through Koochiching Ontario Health Team, and certainly can help if you run into any glitches. I've been able to assist a few residents at this point. So I'm at asbell@ramara.ca, or my phone number, which I've given out a million times, 905-220-8778. And I think that's the highlights.
Thank you. Next, I will look for presentations. I have none. Public and special meetings of council, I have none. And deputations, I have none. However, over open public forum, I have Michael O'Brien on item 11.5.1. Come on up, Michael. I think you know the drill, sir. Don't forget your microphone there, sir.
Hit the wrong button. Good morning, Your Honor and council members. I only have a minute to speak to you today, so I'll be talking about the reserve section of page 4 of the financial mid-year update report. I've spoken before about separating statements for the financial information for water, wastewater, and the general taxpayer. So if we were to separate, have separate statements, I'm wondering which of these line items for the reserves would go into which account. Specifically, does the water services line represent the cumulative deficit of the water system over time? And since it's negative, being a deficit, is this borrowed from the general taxpayer? 2, I'd like to see some information into the past on this item because a trend line over time is useful. 3, what is a good amount to have in reserve? Do we need the reserves to qualify for for government grants? 4, the 2026 budget was supposed to increase the reserves by almost 880,000. It's a major driver for the tax increase, but the reserves instead are going down. 5, we have a line for development charges. I'm wondering how we can access this information. If the buildings are done, is that money that has to be spent, or is this money that we've received, but we haven't actually done anything with it? 6, what do the different reserve lines represent? 7, into which line will the windfall 2.2 million be allocated? 9 or 8, I was going to skip it. We're talking later about purchasing industrial sites with some of the windfall earnings. Would we still do so if we had to borrow money or raise rates? And the final item 9, the amount for the Breckland sewers is unchanged since 2018. Will this be paid off? How will this be paid off is a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Well, I would suggest you hand that list of questions in at the end of the meeting. So, yep.
I can't hand it in at this
Right, at this time, but yes. Perfect, thank you. And I don't think I have any other, I'm just making notes here. Okay, I don't think I have any other people speaking. So now we will go to the minutes, consolidated minutes from the previous meeting. Madam Clerk.
That the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as presented. Council meeting minutes dated July 13th, 2026. Council meeting closed session minutes dated July 13th, 2026. Special council meeting regarding interviews for Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission vacancy dated July 27th, 2026. Special council meeting regarding interviews for Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission vacancy closed session minutes dated July 27th, 2026.
Okay, I'll look for a mover, Councillor Goff and the deputy mayor. Questions arising from the minutes? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So now we need to convene into committee of the whole. Madam Clerk.
That council recess and convene as committee of the whole at 9:44 a.m.
Moved by Councillor Tuyu, second by Councillor Fisher. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And the first one we have is our closed session.
That pursuant to section 239(4) of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, Chapter 25, notice is hereby given that the Committee of the Whole intends to hold a closed session meeting in the Richard P. Bates Boardroom at 9:45 a.m. to deal with item 10.2.1 regarding preliminary report of the Ombudsman, 10.2.2 regarding Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options closed session, and 10.2.3 regarding disclosure of personal information, Councillor social media, being matters pursuant to section 239(3)(b), an ongoing investigation respecting the municipality, a local board, or municipally controlled corporation by the Ombudsman, and section 239(2)(b), personal matters of an identifiable individual, C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, and F, advice subject to solicitor-client privilege of the said act.
Okay, can I have a mover and a second to go in camera? Moved by Councillor Tuyu, second by Councillor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. All right. Are we live, Nate? Ready to go? And I'll get my clerk confirm I still have my quorum. And Counselor Snotch has joined us.
Through the chair, I can confirm you have quorum.
And so then I would look for the motion to rise and report, and then we'll do the three motions and then we'll take a quick break.
To the chair, that committee of the whole rise from closed session at 10:36 a.m. and reconvene in open session and report.
Moved by Counselor Fisher, second by the deputy mayor. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, we have some motions here.
Through the chair, so the first item was related to the preliminary report of the ombudsman, and this is that report CD 1726 regarding preliminary report of the ombudsman be received, and that report CD 1726 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Moved by Counselor Bell, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Through the chair, the second matter was related to the Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options closed session report. And this motion is as follows, that report CS 2326 regarding Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options closed session be received, and that council proceed in accordance with direction provided through report CS 2426 Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options open session, and that report CS 2326 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Moved by Counselor Goff, second by Counselor Fisher. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And lastly,
Through the chair, this item was related to disclosure of personal information, counselor social media. The motion is as follows, that report CS 2226 regarding disclosure of personal information, counselor social media be received, and that the confidential direction provided to staff be adopted, and that report CS 2226 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Counselor Bell did declare a conflict on this matter, so the remaining council members moved by Counselor Goff, second by the deputy mayor. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And now I'll look for a motion that we take. What do you think, folks? 10:45, is that enough? We'll be back at 10:45. We'll take a break till then. Moved by Counselor Snotch, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. All right. I'm showing 10:40. We're ready. We are back live. So once again, Rebecca, if you can confirm, I've got my quorum. I believe all members are present.
Through the chair, yes, I can confirm you have quorum.
Thank you. So we are now on to 11.5 departmental reports, and the first one is the financial mid-year update. So I have a recommendation here. I'll get it on the floor. Rebecca, when you're ready.
Through the chair, that report TR 0526 regarding 2026 financial mid-year update be received as information.
Moved by Councillor Goff, second by the deputy mayor. Okay. Questions are from council. I'll start. Councillor to you. I'll start. Anything you want to add to the report, Manol, before we go ahead?
Maybe just, it's very difficult to do a mid-year review because most of the capital projects are either starting or have been started, but we didn't yet receive any invoices. So just keep that in mind when reviewing the report. And that's also the reason why I try to stretch it as far as I could and grab some data until mid-July because I saw some invoices coming in.
Okay, thank you. Councillor to you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Melissa, regarding the Economic Development Department, I've heard from a resident that they were not aware that the community improvement plan was underway. They were hoping that there could be some kind of online portal on the township website regarding the CIP where, well, the community improvement plan, where scope and timelines, budgetary details, and what role there might be for the public that could easily be accessible. Is it possible or already available or just difficult to find?
Melissa, go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So the community improvement plan is in its beginning stages. So we're in the initial planning stages with the consultant and are drafting a project webpage as we speak. So that should be available in the next few weeks. And this will provide much of what is being asked by the resident. Staff will also be providing council with a project update via the council information package shortly.
Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Great. Through the chair. Melissa, I'm just wondering, I had a couple of people ask about the 60 active projects. I know we usually do updates on bigger projects. Is there a way that we can have an ongoing list as to what we're working on? I think people like to see what their money is doing out there and just, you know, I know some of them are small, some way, or even by department, each department, how many projects are happening.
We can definitely discuss that at the senior leadership team and see what we can come up with.
Questions, Councillor Bell.
Thank you. On that community improvement plan, I was able to find the RFP dated April 1st and closing April 22nd, but it has not been brought in front of council to my knowledge. So but I can't find if it, once it was closed, if it was assigned to anybody. So is there actually an RFP out there, and is somebody doing a community improvement plan? And this particular RFP indicates it's not a Brecon community improvement plan, but rather for multiple hamlets across the township or villages or whatever. So I'm curious about the status of that.
Melissa.
So the status was provided to council via CIP. It was Vitality Planning that was awarded the contract. And as we said, we are in the infancy stages. So the project plan will be provided to council as via CIP.
Thanks, Melissa. Sorry, I didn't see it on the CIP. Can you just tell me when did we receive it? Because I don't recall receiving it.
I'll have to look at that date and I'll get back to you. It was a couple of months ago, I believe.
Any other questions from members of council? Right, then I'll look for all in favor. That is carried. Opposed of any? All right. Well, please get your hand up when I call the vote. Thank you. 11.52 is the industrial park exercise to repurchase options. So these are the properties that's being recommended. So Rebecca, I'll get you to read the motion, then we'll go from there.
Through the chair, that report CS 2426 regarding Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options open session be received, and that up to $950,000 be allocated to support exercise of the township's repurchase option for the following lands in the township's industrial park: 321 O'Donnell Court, 344 O'Donnell Court, 345 O'Donnell Court, and that such financial allocation be made from the surplus revenue resulting from investment proceed recapture, and that report CS 2426 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Okay, can I have a mover Moved by Counselor Goff, second by Counselor Fisher. Questions or comments on the repurchase? Not seeing any. All in favor? Opposed of any? Two opposed. Thank you. That is carried. Site alteration bylaw 11.53. I'll get the motion on the table, please.
Through the chair, so just for context, this was the report that was on the July 13th council agenda, and it was postponed till this meeting. There's also a supplemental memo available on the agenda to address some of the questions brought forward. So the motion carried forward from that previous report, which is that report ID 2026 regarding site alteration bylaw update be received, and that staff be directed to bring forward a bylaw to repeal and replace the site alteration bylaw as set out in Schedule A to report ID 2026.
May I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Goff, second by Counselor Fisher. Questions or comments on the bylaw, on what's drafted for the bylaw? Counselor, to you.
Thank you. An email response from the same resident was received on Friday, but not with enough time to make it on the agenda, asking council to consider that we establish mandatory risk triggers for higher risk applications, to explicitly require consideration of cumulative impacts, and to require council and public review of the administrative risk assessment guidelines. Is it possible that we can defer this again to the September meeting in order to have these thoughtful questions published in the agenda and to allow time for staff to respond in terms of feasibility?
We can always ask for a deferral if a council moves and seconds and wants to go in that direction. I would not support the deferral. There comes a point when council has to make decisions. And if the individual wants that much input on the bylaw, they should run for council next this fall. There's still time to sign up. And but we're here to make decisions. This is an improvement. These are living documents. We have an existing bylaw in place. This one shores it up, makes it better than the last one, and it can always be amended as we move forward. But I think we need to make the improvements that are suggested in this and get the bylaw more up to date. And then as time comes, if there's individual one-offs that people would like to see included in that bylaw, by all means, bring them in and we can have good debate on them. So that's my comments. But if you would like the deferral, I would look for that motion at some point. We'll have a more hearty discussion on the bylaw itself. So any other questions on the actual bylaw itself? I'm not seeing any. So then did you want the deferral, madam, or?
I'm sensing there isn't an appetite for that on council. So if, as you say, it's a living document that can be amended at any time, in response to, further debate, that I'm okay with that. I think this is certainly an improvement over what we have currently.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the bylaw? I'm seeing none. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We are on to 11 point, let me find my way here, 5.4, which is, oh yes, Councillor Fisher has declared a conflict on this one. So I'll get the suggested motion on the floor, please.
And through the chair, just for context, we do have Ms. Dong here as well, who can speak to this report if you'd like an introduction. But the motion as drafted is that report ID 2526 regarding proposed Ramara Quarry Aggregate Resources Act license application, license number 626728, informational update be received as information, and that report ID 2526 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Thank you. Before I get a mover in a second, or maybe I'll take any questions in case council has a different direction on this. I always wonder, and I'll ask this to Ms. Dong, like they're applying for a license. They don't even have their zoning in place yet. They don't even, the zoning is not in place. The official plan's not in place. My inclination would be to the license, to the M&R to say, this is a premature application and should not be considered at this time. What's your feedback on that? Which is kind of what Tapmo is saying. So I'm curious of what your feedback is on this.
Good morning. Yes, so this is not uncommon that you have the ARA application at the same time as the Planning Act applications. It usually comes this way. And it's because the studies are all the same. So a lot of the studies that they do for the ARA process, they are also doing for the land use planning application. And from our perspective, putting the comments in now, we would always reserve the right to be able to provide subsequent comments once we were done our technical review. So that's what we did on the last one. And then we provided those comments. I don't know if you recall, but that was part of the official plan amendment. Was this is the list of comments and changes that were required because of the technical review. So it's, I don't know that just having a flat, we think it's premature would necessarily be great. Just, it would be good to provide the comments that we have already and then saying, you know, notwithstanding this, we also reserve the right, because there is a prematurity piece because the zoning and the official plan aren't in place, but it's also understandable that the studies are the same and they're usually good for about 5 years. So to go through the official plan zoning bylaw amendment process and then go through the ARA process, it would really sort of drag out. The other piece of it is that if there is an OLT hearing for some reason, generally they will put the Planning Act application and the license at the same time so that the OLT will deal with them both. So there's a 2-year time period for the ARA license. I expect that's why they usually come a little bit later than we receive the applications. But it's certainly up to council, but we are going to be putting the comments together because we don't want to miss that deadline.
Councillor Two.
Thanks. Yeah, whether the application is premature or not, we have that strict ERO timeline to work with. So I think it's great that TAPMO has provided a template for municipal comment submissions, given that we are in absolute lockstep with their push for fair taxation and levy reform for quarries. It would make sense to ask those important questions, ensuring that we are aligned in respecting municipal interests and planning authority, protecting source water, ecosystems, and farmland, and addressing long-term community impacts. I'm really glad that staff is drafting an ERO submission, and I'm looking forward to reviewing it, in addition to attending the public information session on September 9th.
Any other comments from the council members? Then I'll get, yes, go ahead. Ms. Dawn.
I did just want to bring to council's attention, we are doing this one a little bit different than the last time we had them because of the timing of the ARA application. So there's 2 different deadlines. One is through the ARA approval, which is the proponent-led procedure. And then you also have your environmental registry office posting. So the township will put comments in for both, but we just want to be mindful that it's September 24th is the deadline for the ARA application process. Usually the ERO deadline is a little bit later than that. So the idea of this time is that we can bring it to council's attention to let them know that we're working on the comments. We are also going to have the comments sent to council through CIP, likely August 14th is the plan. That way you can review the comments, you can review the TAPMO template, you can make any changes at the September 14th meeting, because we will be looking for same day ratification for the comments on September 14th so we can meet that deadline. The other part of getting it to council's attention today, as Councillor Chu was explaining, is there is an open house on September 9th at the Edney Community Center. And we just wanted to make it aware to the public and to council that they are invited to attend. It's a proponent-led open house through the ARA application. So it's not the Planning Act application public meeting. We don't have that scheduled yet. We're not at that point. But that's sort of the intent. So when you do see this again, you will see our comments submitted as through the CIP on the 14th, and then we'll be looking for any massaging or final comments from council on the September 14th council meeting.
Okay. Any questions from council? So on the motion that was read, may I have a mover and a seconder now? Moved by Councillor Tuyu, second by Councillor Goff. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Thank you. That is carried. So I guess the next one is now we rise and we reconvene as council.
Through the chair, so the motion as drafted is as follows: that the recommendations of committee of the whole be referred to the next regular meeting of council to be held on September 14th, 2026, with the exception of the following items, which shall be referred to consent agenda B today. Motions arising from closed session discussions, item 11.1.1, preliminary report of the ombudsman. Motions arising from closed session discussions, item 11.1.2, Township of Ramara Industrial Park, exercise of repurchase options, closed session. Motions arising from closed session discussions, item 11.1.3, disclosure of personal information, councillor social media. Departmental reports, item 11.5.2, Township of Ramara Industrial Park, exercise of repurchase options, open session. Departmental reports, item 11.5.4, proposed Ramara Quarry Aggregate Resources Act license application, license number 626728, informational update. and that committee of the whole rise and council be reconvened at 11 a.m.
And just for clarification, 11.3 will be a separate because Councillor Bell has declared. I mean, we're reporting them all now, but those motions will be separate when we come out, as well as 11.54 because Councillor Fisher has declared on that. So they will be done as separate motions. So mover and a seconder to rise, moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu. All in favor? That is carried. Okay. Yes. Well, yeah, Councillor Bell's where Councillor Fisher is relatively to where she lives. Yeah, yeah, with that quarry relation to it. Yeah. It was disclosed at the start of the meeting. Okay, we are up to item 12, which is committee of the whole, previous committee of the whole. So I'll
through
get
the
the
chair,
motion.
we'll put the motion on the screen, and then if there are any reports that you'd like pulled for separate vote and discussion, please let me know and we'll adjust. So currently we have as follows: that recommendations as set out on consent agenda A, reports from the July 13th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting be adopted as presented, including the following items. Item 12.1.1, Brecon Municipal Buildings Demolition Costing and RFI/RFP Framework. Item 12.1.2, Feasibility of Garbage Collection Services Tax Rebate. Item 12.1.3, Stop and Yield Bylaw Update. Item 12.1.4, Routine Disclosure Process and Prospective Policy Amendment. So if there are any items from that list that you would like pulled for separate discussion and vote, please let me know.
That is our last committee of the whole. The 4 items are there. Does anybody want a separate vote on any of those items? I'm not seeing any, so I will look for the motion then. Mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Snutch, second by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, so that takes care of all of 12. We are on the consent agenda B, reports from the current meeting, and some of those have been pulled for a separate vote. So
Through the chair, if you'll just give me a couple
Yes.
minutes to prepare that.
these, of course, will be the reports from today. We have to pull the 2 that the conflict are on. You didn't support the quarry one. Did you want a separate vote on that, or are you fine?
Okay, through the chair, thank you for your patience. So we have that ready. So the motion currently as drafted is that recommendations as set out on consent agenda B, reports from the current meeting for the regular meeting of council held on August 10th, 2026 be adopted as presented, including the following items. Item 13.1.1, preliminary report of the ombudsman. Item 13.1.2, Township of Ramara Industrial Park, exercise of repurchase options, closed session. Item 13.1.4, Township of Ramara Industrial Park, exercise of repurchase options, open session. And with the exception of the following items, which shall be voted on individually. Item 13.1.3, disclosure of personal information, counts for social media. Item 13.1.5, proposed Ramara Quarry Aggregate Resources Act license application, license number 626728, informational update.
Okay, I'll look for a mover, moved by Councillor Goff, second by the Deputy Mayor. So of course, we're just voting on receiving the 2 confidential reports and the industrial park moving forward. All in favor? Questions? Questions, yes.
Sorry, I'm not in favor of the industrial park.
So you do want a separate vote on that
Yeah,
one as well?
So I should have said, yeah.
All right, so we will get a separate vote on the industrial park one. So really all we're gonna do right now will just be receiving the two in-camera reports, which was 10.1 and 10.2. And we'll have a separate vote on the quarry, the industrial park, and which was called 10.3, which is now 11.3 on this agenda, which is the other in-camera. I know that gets confusing because different meeting, different number. So can we just move the one down, Rebecca, and we'll go ahead.
Through the chair, yes, I have made that adjustment.
Okay, so the two in cameras, all in favor? That is carried. So now I'll get the separate motion for the other three. We'll do them one at a time.
Okay, through the chair. So the first separate item is 13.1.3, which is the disclosure of personal information, counselor social media. This motion was that report CS 2226 regarding disclosure of personal information, counselor social media be received, and that the confidential direction to staff be adopted, and that report CS 2226 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Yes, and Councillor Bell is declared on this one, so I'll have a mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Snutch. All in favor? That is carried. Now, the next one is the industrial park, I believe, is it? Or what order are you doing them in? Yes.
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. So this is the Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options open session. So this is that report CS 2426 regarding Township of Ramara Industrial Park exercise of repurchase options open session be received, and that up to $950,000 be allocated to support exercise of the township's repurchase option for the following lands in the township's industrial park: 321 O'Donnell Court, 344 O'Donnell Court, 345 O'Donnell Court, and that such financial allocation be made from the surplus revenue resulting from investment proceed recapture, and that report CS 2426 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Thank you. So I'll have a mover, moved by Councillor Fisher, second by Councillor Goff. All in favor? Opposed of any? Two opposed, I believe. This is the industrial park buyback. Yes, I have two opposed. Thank you. And lastly is the quarry, and Councillor Fisher declared the conflict on this one.
Through the chair, so this motion was that report ID 2526 regarding proposed Ramara Quarry Aggregate Resources Act license application, license number 626728, informational update be received as information, and that report ID 2526 be referred to the August 10th, 2026 council agenda for same day ratification.
Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu. All in favor? Opposed of any? One opposed. That is carried. Thank you. So now we're up to consent agenda C, which is our correspondence items, which is under 14.1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, I believe, 7 actually. Any to be pulled for separate motions? Councillor Bell.
14.1, please.
14.1, the first one. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to ask on that one. So the fact that they're requesting the deputation, us receiving it would not trigger that. We would need to vote to have the deputation, correct?
Yes, through the chair, I do have an alternate motion prepared to
Okay, perfect. Yep.
to request deputation if that's so desired by council.
So you've pulled it, so we can have that separate vote. So any other to be pulled? Councillor Tuyu.
I guess the ones that I had pulled.
All right.
14.1.2.
Yep.
And sorry, I'm just looking for it. 14.1.6.
6, thank you.
Oh, and 1.7.
1.7. All right. Okay, so those three, do you have that, Madam Clerk? So 14.12, 0.16, and 0.17. We'll have separate motions as well. TAPMO, is it just here for information? I'm just wondering, is somebody looking for a separate motion on that? Or TAPMO?
TAPMO, that's sort of changed. I won't be going with that.
Okay. All right.
But maybe someone can get there. I don't know.
Oh, your mic's not on, Dave, sorry.
I think someone else should attend on my behalf
Okay,
to that meeting.
yeah, perfect. Okay, so just a discussion on that one. We didn't actually need a motion. So, okay, On the rest, if I can get the motion, then we'll proceed.
Through the chair, that the recommendations as set out on consent agenda C, correspondence for the regular meeting of council held on August 10th, 2026 be adopted as presented, including the following items. Item 14.1.3, TAPMO correspondence dated July 21st, 2026 regarding the August 16th, 2026 TAPMO Membership Committee AGM agenda. Item 14.1.4, TSB correspondence dated July 23rd, 2026 regarding response to the Township of Ramara's request for review of operational safety, Lake Country Airways Water Aerodrome. Item 14.1.5, Municipality of Shania correspondence dated July 21st, 2026 regarding support for the Town of Whitby's resolution, Ontario Land Tribunal review and enhancing deference to municipal planning. With
Okay,
with the exception of the following items, which shall be voted on individually. Item 14.1.1, Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission resolution dated July 9th, 2026 regarding request for deputation, invasive species center. Item 14.1.2, Municipality of Trent Lakes correspondence dated July 16th, 2026 regarding request for provincial action on the accuracy of municipal voters list. Item 14.1.6, General Manager of Development and Infrastructure correspondence dated July 23rd, 2026 regarding Atherley Updergrove Master Servicing Study update. And item 14.1.7, Municipality of Wawa correspondence dated July 14th, 2026 regarding support for the North Grenville, Merrickville, Wolford Village OPP Detachment Board's resolution, traffic and speeding funding.
okay. So motion on the floor. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Fisher, second by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor on the first ones? That is carried. So now we are on to 14.1.1, which is the request for, Parks and Waterways requesting us to have a deputation by this individual group. So you have a motion for us, Madam Clerk?
Through the chair, yes. If it's the will of council to put the motion on the floor regarding requesting a deputation, the motion drafted is that staff be directed to contact the Invasive Species Center to request a deputation regarding responding to water soldier in Lake Simcoe at the next available council meeting.
Was that your suggestion, Councillor Bell? Moved by Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Goff. Any questions? Councillor Tuyu and the Deputy Mayor. Yep.
Thanks. I'm fully in support of inviting Katie and Colin as often as possible to speak about the variety of invasive species that are taking a foothold in Ramara Township. Not only is it wonderful to catch up with them at conferences to hear about the great work they are doing, but I attend their forum every year, and the wealth of knowledge they have is something everyone could benefit from. The Invasive Species Center is an incredibly valuable resource with access to opportunities and partnerships and grant funding. So it is absolutely in our interest and that of the native biodiversity in our wetlands and waterways to make them feel welcome here, as we could very much use their help.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I just want to comment. I think it was myself moved it and Tom Hart seconded, and it was unanimous. We do believe this is so important for the rest of the township. This weed has taken over Cook's Bay. I think everybody who's on that water needs to identify it to be able to be prepared for it, because it's really hard to get rid of. It's probably the worst one yet. So I think we need to also get their deputation possibly posted as information for residents.
Okay, Councillor Bell.
Thank you. Yes, this is incredibly important and moving. So when I was speaking with Dr. Ginn a couple of weeks back, the concern is heightening around the movement. Obviously, boats are moving, so the plants can move. But also too, there is the working group that Ramara was invited to join by funding as well as sending an individual. So I think that it's important this deputation comes before council so that the public hears it in a larger sense. As much as I always invite people to watch the Parks and Waterways meetings, I'm not sure that they do, that they don't impact. So they may not be watching it there. But I also think that it gives an opportunity for council to ask questions. And beyond that, maybe that we would then have the option to participate in education so that we maybe minimize the number of people who are taking their boats into that area and moving those plants around. So I think there's a number of different benefits that can come out of this, and along with considering updating at Parks and Waterways pages at ramara.ca, which would allow for a little bit more maybe information, or at least more links to the variety of information available specifically about water soldier, but other invasive species as well.
Okay, so on the motion to get the deputation, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 14.1.2, which is the Trenton Lakes over our voters list. Do you have a suggested motion, Madam Clerk?
Through the chair, so the motion on the agenda was that the municipality of Trent Lakes correspondence dated July 16th, 2026 regarding requests for provincial action on the accuracy of municipal voters list be received as information. I'm not sure if what the councillor to you wanted to do is receive and support. So if that's desired, we could replace that now or put on the floor and then do an amendment.
Receive and report. Yeah, go ahead, Counselor.
Yes, especially as we get closer to the election, we want to ensure that voter lists are as accurate as possible, and I would like to receive and support.
Wouldn't it be nice one day to actually have an accurate voters list when we're heading into an election? That would be just such a wonderful thing. Counselor Bell.
Thank you. I just, while we're on the subject, would like to point out if it's okay that you can still check online until August 12th and then post August 12th, it becomes more difficult. But I'm also saying that because I've already had a number of people who are experiencing a variety of things. And one of those things is if they are having their Ramara tax bill sent to their address outside of Ramara, they are finding trouble with having their name on the voters list in Ramara. So I've had that like enough times already that I think it's a fairly significant concern that we should maybe hopefully put some more social media. I know it's tight if there's only 2 days, but maybe another big push because that's definitely a thing that's happening.
Thank you. So on endorsing this, do you have it just, is that all you're adding to the motion, Rebecca?
Yes, to the chair, I just have that the municipality of Trent Lakes correspondence dated July 16th, 2026 regarding requests for provincial action on the accuracy of municipal voters list be received and supported.
Okay, all in favor. Do I have a mover? Moved by Counselor Tuyes. Did I have a mover in a second? Moved by Counselor Tuyes, second by Counselor Fisher. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We are on now with item 11 or 14.16.
Through the chair, this motion on the agenda was just that the general manager of development and infrastructure correspondence dated July 13th, 2026 regarding Atherley Upton Grove master servicing study update be received as information. I'm not sure if there was any additional direction that council was seeking with this.
Counselor Tuyes, you looking for something to add to this?
Yes, well, I wasn't sure whether or not this needed to be deferred since our general manager of infrastructure and development is not here, but we have just as great our planner, Ms. Stong here, who's able to, I guess, answer some of the questions that were outlined in the resident correspondence. And I'm just hoping that you might be able to do that while we're in a public council meeting, at least the ones you are able to answer.
Stong?
Yes, so I can give you a brief overview. So the purpose of this memo is to provide council with specific updates on milestones of our projects as we move forward. And in this case, it is that the project has started. That is the milestone. We are at the infancy stage of this project. It's a big project. And so really right now we're reviewing the existing state, identifying growth projections, environmental and regulatory limitations, and we're also assessing the current servicing needs in the area. The memo that General Manager Pai submitted did confirm that there will be a communication and consultation plan as a key deliverable in the first phase. And we can also confirm that there will be a web page devoted to the project once we have information to put on the web page. We have received the questions from Mr. Ciardo that were attached to the agenda, and we've also received 2 subsequent follow-up submissions of questions. So we are working to review those questions, and we will be providing responses directly to Mr. Ciardo, at least the questions that we can answer. I just wanted to make it clear that we're not presupposing anything at this point. The study will identify preferred servicing options and solutions, and will provide framework for future planning and investments. Decisions on how to proceed will be dependent on council direction, funding availability, regulatory approvals, and development pressures, among other things, once this study is complete.
Okay. Further questions? Yeah.
No, just thank you so much for following up with that resident and for making it very clear in this meeting. Thank you.
So the motion is to receive. Counselor Bell.
Thank you. Just a comment, really. These kinds of questions should be answered, and they should be answered publicly and transparently. So I don't know if the intent is to build an FAQ, but I also know that in the past when FAQs have been built, only particular questions are answered and not all of the questions that are being submitted. So I object to Mr. Ciarto's questions not being answered publicly. They should be. all questions that are submitted on these projects should be. He's asking valid questions. He wants to know, you know, for example, where's the terms of reference and milestones that would be tied to that terms. He wants to know more about the budget and those sorts of things. So I'm not going to belabor it. We know that the questions aren't getting answered today, but they should be. And all resident questions are valued and valuable and should always be responded to.
I believe they're responded to, but we don't have the authority to put somebody's question on a website or make it public. Like when somebody writes an email and asks a question, they expect an answer. We absolutely do not have the authority to post that question publicly unless it's a public meeting and they actually stand up and make a question at a public meeting. Emails from individuals are confidential and they're asking their questions. We get them their answers. But there will be public sessions as part of this, I would assume, yes. And at that time, anybody can step at the public meeting and make their questions known publicly if that's what they desire. So we'll be following the planning process on this, I would assume. Yes. So if to receive his information is a motion I have, did I have a mover and a seconder?
Through the chair, no, not at this point.
I moved by the deputy mayor, second by Councillor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And we're on to the last one, 14.17, Municipality of Wawa.
Through the chair, so the motion on the agenda was that the municipality of Wawa correspondence dated July 14th, 2026 regarding support for the North Grenville, Merrickville, Wolford Village OPP Detachment Board's resolution, traffic and speeding funding. We received his information. I understand the desired motion may be to receive and support, but Councillor Tu, you may confirm that.
You will move the receive and report support. Moved by Councillor Tu, second by Councillor Fisher. Comments? Not seeing any. Councillor Tu.
I'll just to clarify why, given that the province had banned the speed camera program before Ramara's were ever implemented, like many other municipalities, we were not immediately eligible for funding toward traffic calming measures, the way that municipalities were whose cameras were already up and running. So I would like to ensure that we would be eligible for that funding. Therefore, I would like to receive and support.
Thank you. All in favor? Both any, that is carried. Okay, that's the separate votes we've done. We are now on to item 15. Correspondence for council direction, and I do have a report in front of us from the Udny Community Center Board.
Through the chair, so this was similar to the last meeting when we had a request from the Harvest Festival. The motion is actually looking for assistance, so we don't necessarily have something to put on the floor yet. If there's a consensus from council for what you would like to see, if you would like to support it, we do have a draft motion prepared that we could put on the floor in terms of providing funding, but we would leave that to council to give that initial direction.
Okay, you're on the Udny Community Center Board, are you not, Councillor Goff, as well? So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's basically what Rebecca had said. We as a municipality, this is one of our community center boards, and it is Udny Fest, and we do have Melissa going through all the information and advertising so that it's proper. I think it's something that we should do, is cover the cost of insurance for this day. Councillor Fisher, you want to add anything?
Yeah,
Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. Through your worship, the council, as you recall, just supported for the Athlete Community Center Board's event. Then we didn't have a budgeted line item because when budgets were proposed last year for this year, that wasn't a concern to bring forward. So we also, as well as asking for this, we have included during our budget discussions to bring forward, included a placeholder moving forward so that these types of things, which I think was what was suggested at our last meeting with our different community center boards that are holding events on behalf of the municipality.
Thank you. You answered my comment, which is, yeah, it needs to be in the budget next year, which is the same direction we gave the Athlete Community Center Board. Any other comments? So you would like to see us support, but I'll get comments first, Councillor.
Nothing, and I think I said this the last time as well too, but I just think there should be a policy that determines when we assist or waive insurance and when we don't, so that it's not one-off decisions based on which board, which people, and that it's based on a policy and a criteria. This is a great event, and obviously I support it, but I just think that, yeah, we need policies. We don't need one-offs. That's just a comment.
Okay. Councillor Goff.
Well, I think the one-offs are just because the insurance issue is a new issue that's arisen, and that our community center boards haven't had the opportunity to have it in their budget yet. So we're moving forward. They're going to have it in their budgets going forward to cover events like this.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you. Yeah, I just would point out, though, that at the beginning of the term, we had the market, which, by the way, speaking of the market, is doing amazing this year. They have tons of vendors, but we've treated it differently as well. So they needed insurance, and then the next year, somehow they just got waived. I don't even really know how it happened. It just happened. And there was questions later about that. So nothing we can do going back in time, but moving forward, I just think we need a clear policy that defines so that we're not caught in a situation where we have to answer questions about why this event or that person, but not that one. So I would hope that a policy can be created in the future.
I've been here 26 years. I can pretty much guarantee if we had a policy, the policy would say they must pay their insurance. That would be what the policy would say. So that's why I don't mind having the one-offs when these festivals pop up and a community center or a community is trying to start something new and they get caught and all of a sudden they realize there's a bill they didn't anticipate. Is there something you want to add, Brittany? I see you came on screen or?
Yeah, sorry, just through the chair, just to clarify, we're not waiving insurance requirements. We're just,
No.
I think the request is to fund the insurance requirement. There's no waiving of insurance here.
Right. It's not in their budget. So then we need to give them permission. Okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder to do that? Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Fisher that,
Through the chair, I can read the
Yes,
motion that
thank
was
you.
drafted to make sure that council is okay with this direction based on the conversation. That the correspondence from Teresa Robertson on behalf of the Udny Community Center Board regarding insurance assistance for 2026 Udny Fest be received, and that council authorize the provision of up to $450 to the Udny Community Center Board for the purposes of insurance assistance for the 2026 Udny Fest to be funded from the UCC Capital Expenditures Reserve, and that the Udny Community Center Board be directed to include future insurance costs for events in their annual budget for consideration during the annual budget process.
and I had a mover and a seconder, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. So now I have postponed motions. I have none. Planning motions, none. No deputation motions, but I do have a notice of motion. Moved by Councillor Fisher, second by Councillor Goff, and I will get my clerk to read that. Thank you.
Yes. Through the chair. So yes, this process is that notice of motion is given at this meeting, and then the motion will be brought forward for discussion at the next regular meeting.
Boy, I'm glad you have to read this one.
Yes, if you'll bear with me, Councillor Fisher hereby gives notice that she intends to introduce the following motion at the September 14th, 2026 council meeting, moved by Jennifer Fisher, seconded by Joe Goff. Whereas Lyme disease is a growing public health concern in Ontario and across Canada due to the expanding range of tick populations and increasing incidence of tick-borne illnesses. And whereas early diagnosis and treatment of Lyme disease are essential to reducing the risk of long-term health complications, and whereas some individuals continue to experience persistent debilitating symptoms following recommended treatment for Lyme disease, significantly affecting their quality of life, ability to work, and overall well-being. And whereas Lyme disease is recognized and insured under the Ontario Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, but Canada has not adopted a nationally accepted clinical definition of chronic Lyme disease, and current Canadian clinical guidance instead recognizes post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome, PTLDS. And whereas the absence of a nationally accepted definition for persistent Lyme-related illness may contribute to inconsistencies in diagnosis, treatment options, physician education, access to care, and publicly funded services for affected patients. And whereas municipalities have an interest in advocating for equitable access to healthcare services that improve the health and well-being of their residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Ramara calls upon the Province of Ontario and the Government of Canada to collaborate with medical experts, researchers, healthcare providers, and patient representatives to continue research into persistent symptoms following Lyme disease and emerging evidence related to long-term outcomes, review existing clinical guidance as new scientific evidence becomes available, enhance physician education and awareness regarding the diagnosis and management of patients experiencing persistent Lyme-related symptoms, improve access to multidisciplinary assessment and care for individuals experiencing ongoing symptoms following Lyme disease, and review current funding policies and access to medically necessary diagnostics and treatments where supported by emerging evidence and best clinical practice. Be it further resolved that Council requests the Province of Ontario advocate to the Government of Canada for continued national leadership in developing evidence-informed guidance on persistent Lyme-related illness, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to request support from Sylvia Jones, Minister of Health, Province of Ontario, Marjorie Michelle, Minister of Health, Government of Canada, Public Health Agency of Canada, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Rural Ontario Municipal Association, Jill Dunlop, Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response and MPP for Simcoe North, Adam Chambers, MP for Simcoe North, and all Ontario municipalities.
Okay, that will be appearing at our next council meeting and can be discussed at that time. Council motions previously given notice of motions. We don't have any, but I do have an inquiry motion under 16.16 moved by Councillor Tu and Councillor Fisher. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
And through the chair, I understand that Councillor Tu wanted to remove one bullet from this, so I will take that out during the reading. The motion as drafted is that moved by Dana Tuyu, seconded by Jennifer Fisher, that staff be directed to prepare a report for council on the feasibility of implementing the following measures to support the township's declaration of intimate partner violence as an epidemic. Contacting municipal partners involved in the Couchiching Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan to ask if there has been any progress with addressing intimate partner violence in the plan since its inception. The second bullet is what we would be removing, which is request that each of the represented municipalities declare IPV an epidemic, as we believe they've already done so. So we'll take that out now. Provide a copy of the CFUW Aurelia correspondence to the Township of Ramara Council dated June 24th, 2026, each of the represented municipalities. Encouraging municipal staff and members of council to attend the Neighbors, Friends, and Families free 1-hour online training program designed to increase awareness of the warning signs of abuse and provide practical guidance on how to respond, including communicating about the availability of the training and following up with the County of Simcoe on the February 2026 funding request from Greenhaven Women's Shelter to inquire about the status of the request, and if funding has not been granted by the county, forwarding the request to the Township of Ramara 2027 budget process.
I have a mover and a seconder. Any discussion from council members? It's pretty straightforward. Dana, something you'd like to add? Go ahead. It's your motion.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I realize this is just for a staff feasibility report for all of this, but just in absence of a comprehensive community safety and well-being plan for this, specifically this municipality, which typically also addresses things like transportation, food and housing and security, et cetera, we are not necessarily equipped to address IPV within our limited resources. However, since the province mandated their creation, we are part of the greater Couchiching Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan from 2025 to 2029. So, but unfortunately, this Couchiching Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan only has this to say about IPV on page 23, which is pathways to safety for victims of intimate partner and gender-based violence. The absence of an articulated strategy in the refreshed plan does not diminish the keen awareness that we need to work with community partners to improve access and outcomes for those at risk and victims. We can show leadership with those other member municipalities by encouraging that we need to take some meaningful action and working toward a strategy. Specifically for Ramara, I had outlined some small but concrete and achievable goals as laid out in this motion. The second bullet of the first point obviously is removed because each of those member municipalities have all now declared IPV as an epidemic after the deputations from CFUW Aurelia.
Okay, any other comments? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We are now on to the bills and bylaws.
Through the chair, we do have this prepared as a consolidated vote, but similar to the consent agendas, if you would like any of these to be discussed and voted upon individually, please let me know and I'll adjust. So currently we have it drafted that bills 2026.40, 2026.41, 2026.42, 2026.43, 2026.44, 2026.45, and 2026.46 be considered read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed as bylaws.
Anybody want one of the bills or bylaws pulled? Okay, Councillor Bell, I see you first, and then Councillor Snutch.
I think we have some of the same ones anyway, but so I want the amending the fees and charges pulled, and then all of the ones related to the industrial park.
Okay, so the fees and bylaws, which number was that one?
17.1.
17.1, all right. Any other, Dave, did that get the one? All right. So then I'll get the remainder. So I'm just get the number. So 17.1, which is bill 202640 is pulled. And the industrial park, I think it's 2040, no, 204642. Or nope, it's not that one. I just want to make sure I get the numbers right.
And it starts at 43.
43, 2643, I believe 2644 and 2645, correct? Okay, they have been pulled and the rest we're voting on. You need clarification? You're good with that, Madam Clerk?
Yes, through the chair. So I have that bills 2026.41, 2026.42, and 2026.46 be considered read a first, second, and third time and finally passed as bylaws. And with the exception of the following bills, which shall be voted on individually, 2026.40, 2026.43, 2026.44, and 2026.45.
Okay, so we pulled those ones. So on the remaining ones, moved by Counselor Goff, second by Counselor Fisher, all in favor? Carried. So I guess we'll do them as one-offs.
Through the chair, so the first is Bill 2026.40, which I'll read the motion. That Bill 2026.40 being a bylaw to amend fees and charges bylaw 2025.74 to update routine disclosure request fees as outlined in Schedule A, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed as a bylaw.
Okay, mover and a seconder. Moved by Counselor Tuyu, second by the Deputy Mayor. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Thank you. Any objection if we consolidate the three over the industrial park, or do you want three individuals? Because I think your position is the same on all three parts. So we'll consolidate the other three into one motion, please. We're not treating any of the properties differently.
Through the chair, so this consolidated vote would be that bills 2026.43, 2026.44, and 2026.45 be considered read a first, second, and third time and finally passed as bylaws.
May I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Fisher, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? Opposed?
So that was a combination.
Yes, all three together. So I'm seeing two opposed, correct? Yes, two opposed. Counselor Snudge, Counselor Bell. Okay. Confirmation bylaw.
That bylaw 2026.65 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on the 10th day of August 2026 be considered read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Moved by Counselor Snudge, second by Counselor Tuyu. All in favor? That is carried. And last, the adjournment.
That the council meeting of the Township of Ramara held on August 10th, 2026 be adjourned at 11:36 a.m.
Moved by Counselor Fisher, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.